Nobody wanted to believe me, but when everyone saw how brilliantly these tricks work, they were amazed. And you need to know these 13 tricks now because they can make your life so much easier. For example, if you want to squeeze a lemon, cut it in half, but don't squeeze it by hand as you can see here, but grab a little help instead. These are the kind of tongs that everyone probably has in their kitchen. Simply squeeze the lemon here and squeeze well at both ends, as this will really get an incredible amount of juice out of the lemon. You can also wrap it around a little in between so that you get all the rest out. This makes squeezing the lemon much easier than if you just use your hands. But this trick is even more ingenious if you have such a bag with some sauce in it and want to get it into your pot. You should never just do this by hand, as there is usually a good amount of sauce left inside, and there is a much easier method. To do this, put the packet in the pot, put the lid on top so that only a small corner is sticking out, and pull the bag completely upwards. This way you really get the entire contents of the bag directly into the pot. As you can see here, there is nothing left inside, and everything is in the pot in a matter of seconds. Before I show you why you should keep your bread underwater before you eat it and what exactly a roll of toilet paper has to do with onions, I'll show you this ingenious trick if you have larger peppercorns. Because then all you need is a blender, where you can put them in at the top. Then you should grab some aluminum foil and wrap it tightly around the head so that there is no gap anywhere. The aluminum foil should also not be on the knives. Now simply turn the whole thing on once and you will get all of this pepper really super fine. If you have larger peppercorns but need finer pepper, you can easily get it fine with this. Incidentally, this trick works not only with pepper, but also with sugar. If you add sugar to the top, wrap aluminium foil around it again and let it run for a short time, you will get really fine powdered sugar. Here you can see that it has become really fine, and if you ever need a little powdered sugar but don't have any, you can easily make it yourself. But do you also know this ingenious packaging trick from these soy sauce packets, because they have 2 holes at the top? The soy sauce comes out of these when you tip it, but the second hole actually has an ingenious function, because if you hold your finger on it, the sauce will stop running immediately, and if you lift your finger, it will start running again. This allows you to dose the whole thing much better than if you just tilt it. And although grapes are incredibly tasty, the most annoying thing about them is always unwinding the individual grapes. It's quite a fiddly job and actually takes quite a long time. However, there is an ingenious, quick and easy trick that works in a matter of seconds, and it works with all grapes. Simply place a bunch of grapes in a plastic bag, such as a freezer bag, and give it a good shake. After a few seconds, all the individual grapes will fall off so that you end up with just the stalk in your hand. This is particularly helpful if you want to place several grapes directly in the bag so that they can be eaten immediately. This way you have them all directly away from the stalk. And if you have a salt or sugar shaker, you've probably already had the problem that after a while the salt or sugar has solidified and you can't get any more out. This is due to the moisture that collects in there over time. All you need to prevent this is some rice. Just grab a few grains of rice and put them in your sugar or salt shaker. Now you can simply tip the salt or sugar back in, put the lid on and set the whole thing to one side. Rice now ensures that moisture is attracted. In addition, every time you shake it, you ensure that any lumps that can form over time are immediately loosened again, so you always get the salt or sugar out of the packaging. But what exactly is it about the onions and the toilet roll? You're probably familiar with the situation where you buy a few onions and after a while they no longer look so nice, which is particularly annoying. But with this trick, that won't happen again. All you have to do is place the onions in a plastic bag and add toilet paper. Not a whole roll though, a few sheets are enough. Remove these, fold them up a little, and simply place them in the bag with the onions. Now you should close the bag and put it somewhere to one side. This is because moisture often causes onions to go bad more quickly. This way the excess moisture is absorbed by the toilet paper and the onions last much longer. I'll show you exactly what the water and bread are all about after I show you this incredible paprika trick, which will also help you enormously in the future. Because if you want to prepare a bell pepper, you should never cut it apart wildly to get the core out, but simply press it in carefully with your 2 thumbs up here. This will loosen the entire core. Now you can tear the bell pepper in 2, and then you can see that I can remove the core as a whole here, so that I only have to cut the bell pepper and should of course wash it once beforehand. But do you already know this ingenious trick, which is why you should never cut with a knife? Just grab a pizza cutter like this instead. because you can actually use it to cut fruit and vegetables incredibly quickly and easily. It works much faster than with a knife, as you can see here with this small cucumber, for example. With a little practice, you can do it really quickly, and it's much easier than with a knife. And that brings us to the ingenious bread trick. Because if you have bread like this, which is a bit older and has become much harder, you don't have to dispose of it immediately. Take it to your tap instead. Run it under here a few times so that there is really plenty of water on the bread. It should be really wet. Then place it in your oven, switch it to fan, and then to 100 degrees. Now you can just let it run for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how big and thick the bread is. When you take the bread out afterwards, it will be really soft and, above all, crispy. You can then eat it again, even if it's a little older. But one of the most ingenious tricks is when you eat a spreadable sausage like this. Instead of opening it on one side and then pulling it out with a knife, which usually means that you don't get everything out, you should simply twist the tip at the back. Because if you twist it in, not only will the sausage come out at the front, and you can now always cut it to size, but you also have the incredible advantage that you really get all of the sausage out of the packaging at the end, and nothing is left over that you have to scrape out neatly. And did you know that you should definitely throw a laundry pod down your drain? I'll show you exactly what it's all about in the video you can see on the screen now. Click directly on it.